Welcome to our channel. We're thrilled to have you here as we dive into the latest developments surrounding the ongoing legal battle between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. There's been a flurry of updates in this case, with new revelations and a highly anticipated trial on the horizon. In today's video, we're going to take a closer look at some of the key events and documents that have surfaced recently, shedding light on what has unfolded behind the scenes. So, grab a seat and stay with us as we unpack the details that have emerged in this intriguing and ever-evolving story. Justin Baldoni recently launched a website featuring a substantial collection of receipts and documents related to the entire situation surrounding It Ends With Us and Blake Lively. His attorney playfully hinted at the site's release, though, to be honest, there was some uncertainty about whether it would ever go live. This was largely due to the fact that both Blake and Ryan had been doing everything they could to prevent the website from being published. Despite their efforts, the website went up, and now we have the opportunity to analyze several details and events that Justin has shared in a timeline on the site. Many of these details had never been mentioned in any previous videos discussing the situation. In recent days, significant updates have surfaced regarding the ongoing situation between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Not only has the website been published, but Blake's legal team has also been quite vocal about various matters we have recently come to know. For instance, we learned that both Blake's and Justin's attorneys are now preparing for the high-profile trial set for March 9, 2026. On February 3, 2025, Blake and Justin's lawyers met for the first time at the courthouse in connection with Blake's lawsuit, which includes allegations of harassment and defamation related to the production of It Ends With Us. During this meeting, the judge issued a warning to both legal teams, urging them to refrain from making public statements that could influence a potential jury. In the lead-up to this trial, it has been reported that Blake and Ryan have been seeking a gag order to prevent Justin's attorney, Brian Freeman, from publicly discussing case details. Justin's legal team has opposed this request, arguing that Blake herself has brought the dispute into the public eye. Additionally, we learned that Blake's team is also resisting Freeman's efforts to depose her. However, in a February 3 hearing, the judge essentially ruled that Blake would not have the power to select who conducts her deposition. Since my last update, Justin has filed an amended complaint, which he has made publicly accessible to allow the public to read through the latest developments. In his amended complaint, he not only reiterates his defamation claims against Blake, but also accuses the New York Times of conspiring with her to tarnish his reputation. He alleges that both Blake and the newspaper carefully orchestrated a smear campaign against him. To support his claims, Justin has launched a website where he is now sharing text messages and behind-the-scenes documents in an effort to provide evidence for his version of events. The website, lawyuinfo.com, is publicly accessible, and anyone can browse the documents to form their own opinion. On the site, you can find his amended complaint as well as a timeline of events related to the case. Online investigators have scrutinized metadata from the New York Times website and uncovered information that Justin and his legal team are now using in the lawsuit. This includes findings within the amended complaint and timeline, essentially suggesting that Justin and his team discovered HTML source code revealing that the New York Times had published an article about Blake's complaint against Justin as early as October 31, 2024, which, according to their claim, was before it was officially released in December 2024. Justin's team argues that this metadata reveals a deliberate attempt to defame him, supporting their allegations against both Blake and the New York Times. Justin's attorneys stated that the decision to amend the lawsuit was the logical next step due to the overwhelming amount of new evidence that has recently come to light. Brian Freeman, the attorney representing Bond, issued a statement declaring that this new evidence corroborates everything we've known for some time. According to Freeman, Blake Lively and her entire team, driven by an obsessive pursuit of power, have engaged in a months-long conspiracy aimed at tarnishing Justin Baldoni's reputation. This conspiracy involved a complex network of lies, false accusations, and the illegal manipulation of media outlets. Ironically, the ongoing public fascination with this case online has brought to light undeniable truths surrounding the New York Times and Lively's deep involvement in a coordinated smear campaign against Baldoni and Wayfair Studios. In fact, Freeman's statement suggests that not only were Lively and her representatives involved, but they were the instigators of the lawsuit in the first place. Lively's public relations head, along with her associates, reportedly orchestrated a defamation campaign against Wayfair Studios through the press, working in concert with the New York Times. They meticulously planned and set traps over several months, only to unleash them all at once just before the winter holiday season, and just before the amended complaint became public. I actually came across a TikTok from Be Better, a company representative, who explained the full scope of the metadata investigation he conducted. From what I saw, it appears that Justin's team had a keen eye on social media, and when they came across this TikTok, they realized they had discovered something major. They quickly recognized that this was more than just a rumor. It was a potentially explosive finding related to the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni scandal. If you've been paying attention, you're likely aware of the shockwaves caused by this metadata discovery. Investigators dove into the metadata of the New York Times article and found that key elements were embedded as early as December 10th, suggesting that the paper had been working on the article for weeks before the lawsuit was officially filed. This discovery implies that Lively had been collaborating with the New York Times to release the article ahead of the lawsuit, reinforcing claims that she had been plotting with the publication for some time. When I first heard about this, my initial reaction was one of skepticism, but then I recalled that the article was released on the very same day the complaint was filed. It became evident that the New York Times had not just written the article in a matter of hours, but had been preparing it long before that. However, while this finding certainly casts a shadow over the New York Times' credibility, it didn't necessarily strike me as groundbreaking news. So, I dug a bit deeper into the source code, and that's when I made a rather surprising discovery. Upon examining the metadata for images embedded in the article, specifically one containing a text message, it became clear that the message was embedded on October 31st. To the side, it was labeled Message and Bet Generator, which led me to believe this could be an application used to enhance the appearance of the text messages, making them seem more polished and legitimate. Essentially, this means that while the text messages were real in terms of the actual words spoken, they may have been manipulated to appear more professional, much like how Photoshop is used to edit images for a more polished look. If this interpretation is correct, I welcome any corrections, as I'm not exactly a tech expert and might have misunderstood some of the details. Nevertheless, the fact that the metadata clearly pointed to October 31st signifies that the New York Times had been working on the article as early as that date. If true, this means that the publication may have been involved in a months-long conspiracy to strategically release this article in coordination with the lawsuit. This revelation only adds fuel to the growing narrative that the entire article could have been part of an intricate and deliberate campaign to discredit Justin Baldoni. I can't say for certain whether I might be wrong, so please don't hold me to this if I am, but from my investigation, these are the findings I've come across. As I mentioned earlier, it seems that this video may have provided a crucial breakthrough for Justin and his team in uncovering what's been happening with the New York Times. They've begun sharing even more information on the website they recently launched, which includes additional insights into their amended complaint. The article published by the New York Times, which exceeds 4,000 words, appeared just a day after Lively seemed to have filed her CRD complaint. This close coordination between Lively's team and the New York Times appears to have taken place for several months before the CRD complaint was filed, and now it has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, thanks to the tireless efforts of internet sleuths from around the world. Based on the information gathered, it seems that the New York Times uploaded images and other files for their website using a naming convention that indicated the date the data files were created or uploaded. When the public began investigating the URL of various images in the article, they discovered that the earliest date these images pointed to was December 16, 2024. Screenshots showing this date were also attached, and as other members of the public have pointed out, webcrawler data appears to confirm that the PDF file of the CRD complaint, linked in the article, was uploaded to a server even earlier, specifically on December 10, 2024. A quick search using a search engine for the CRD complaint within the archive of static documents revealed that this file had indeed been uploaded as early as December 10th. However, as many online commentators have pointed out, this could indicate that webcrawler cataloged an earlier version of the document, which was later replaced with a new version identical in content, except for the creation date and modification date. Webcrawler would see both versions as the same document. In other words, A plausible explanation for the mismatch between the dates in WebCrawler and the modified file dates is that the New York Times re-uploaded the CRD complaint at the last minute, specifically to cover up the fact that they had been conspiring with Lively and her team for weeks. In addition to the article, the New York Times also uploaded a video alongside it, hastily reporting on the defamation campaign against Lively, one that was easily debunked and entirely false. However, keen-eyed observers noticed that the file name of the video indicated it was created on December 12, 2024. They also pointed out that this video presented as an undeniable truth a series of falsehoods and defamatory claims that Wayfair's parties had orchestrated a smear campaign against Lively. The video ended on a grim note, revealing a new plan for conducting a far-reaching and largely undetectable smear campaign in the digital age. Like the article itself, the video constituted an act of reckless and malicious defamation, violating the privacy rights of the Wayfair parties in light of the false claims made by Lively's team. Some even believe that the New York Times had been working on this article for months, at least since October 31, 2024. Diligent observers have reported that by examining the HTML source code of the article, they found references to an embedded message generator tool linked to that specific date, October 31, 2024. Of course, it's possible that the New York Times simply uploaded a new tool for embedding text messages in an article as part of a routine system upgrade, only to have it serendipitously used 6 weeks later, when the perfect opportunity arose to showcase this new tool in an article heavily reliant on selectively chosen and misleadingly framed text messages. But a simpler explanation is that the New York Times began building its defamation article as early as October 31, 2024, including developing a sleek graphic display module to highlight the edited text messages, which were framed out of context to mislead readers. It's not entirely surprising, nor is it necessarily objectionable, that a news organization would work on a report for weeks or even months before releasing it as part of a well-planned investigative report. However, the timing and the elements within this defamation article are crucial because they strip away any legal protections Lively, the Times, and other members of Lively's team might have relied upon, such as litigation privileges and the fair reporting privilege under defamation law. The manipulative nature of the article is clear, and it's no wonder they felt the need to construct defenses against the lawsuit. It's evident that they're attempting to claim that the New York Times had been working on this story for an extended period of time. On his website, Justin shared a series of text receipts, which clearly show him discussing with his team that he was unhappy with what had been written about Blake at the time the film was released. He wanted to ensure that no negative information about her was being spread, particularly during this period when the film was gaining attention. His team had texted at the time, saying things seemed unclear, but once the media got involved, they wouldn't stop. They advised him to stay quiet and stay calm, get through the week, and then just move on with the regular schedule of Instagram posts and new ideas that content creators were excited to share. Justin emphasized that she had given them everything on a silver platter, so they just needed to focus on the success of the film, family, and their upcoming projects. A strange feeling made him believe that Blake would reach out to him in the next few weeks, or it could be a series of text messages from his PR team saying the story didn't come from TMZ and that Blake's large ego wasn't something everyone was aware of. There were also hints that, in fact, many of the cast and crew adored Justin, and Blake's ego had been hurt. Still, in an ET post, it was stated that this wasn't information from Justin's team, but from others on the set who were stepping up to defend him. Justin also shared additional messages from his team, which contained clear comments about how Blake felt uncomfortable with some of the things he said. One of these was about his desire to change the storyline, with a wish that good things about Blake would be written in the script and that he never intended to speak ill of her or the cast. The story seemed to go in only one direction, and Justin expressed his eagerness to move forward and focus on what's next. He wasn't sure when the right time would be, but he felt that announcing he was directing Pac-Man would be a good move sooner rather than later. His website also provided clear evidence with a timeline of events, starting from January 1, 2019, when Justin first emailed Colleen Hoover about acquiring the movie rights. He also shared emails she had sent him, where she suggested he could play the role of Riley. Justin included notes from his coordinator, with Blake initially not wanting to meet until they had started filming. He recorded that when he met with the coordinator and Blake, he communicated what she needed to do for the scene. However, These were later used against him in Blake's lawsuit, as she was upset with the suggestions he made, even though Justin explained that he was just relaying the information from the coordinator. In addition, Justin presented evidence of the script where he was supposed to lift Blake in a scene. Blake claimed in her lawsuit that this scene didn't exist, and it seemed to make Justin look bad when he asked their shared trainer about her weight, supposedly to prepare for lifting her due to his back problems. However, Blake felt offended, thinking Justin was mocking her body. Despite that, Justin provided evidence that the scene did exist, which helped clarify part of the truth. Furthermore, a crucial event took place on April 25, 2023, when Ryan Reynolds criticized Justin, accusing him of mocking Blake's appearance. However, shortly after that, Blake invited Justin to Los Angeles on April 27, 2023, and in his timeline, he revealed that at the time he was missing his family, especially his kids. Lively suggested Baldoni fly with her to Los Angeles so they could continue working on the script, with a hectic schedule that included 6 hours of work there and 6 hours back. This proved that Lively not only felt comfortable with Baldoni, but also invited him to share a plane cabin with her and her children. Justin even included text messages where Blake suggested he join them in LA the next day at 2 p.m. Therefore, we could allocate 6 hours to work on the script, then fly back on Sunday and dedicate another 6 hours. And it's worth noting that this was the moment when everything truly began to change. On April 28, 2023, Baldoni flew from New York to Los Angeles with Lively and her family. During the flight, Baldoni and Lively worked together on the script. By April 30, 2023, they were back in New York, and on May 1, 2023, Lively started making daily revisions to the script. Her frequent changes and input led the producers to predict that her intervention would continue daily throughout the shooting process, which disrupted the carefully planned production schedule. He also noted that on May 5, 2023, Wayfarer held a Zoom meeting with the production team to discuss behavioral issues and other personnel-related matters before the principal photography commenced. This meeting was a standard part of the pre-production process and training, and he included an image showing that it was indeed scheduled in their calendar. The Zoom meeting addressed the allegations that Justin had initiated an unscripted kiss. According to the records, on May 22, 2023, Lively and Baldoni shot a scripted kiss scene where their characters were engaged in a hospital setting. In this scene, Lively pulled Baldoni in for a kiss, and she clearly took the initiative to kiss him on more than one occasion. Lively determined the number of kisses based on what she felt was necessary for the scene. Despite some claims to the contrary, the kiss was scripted and not an impromptu act, refuting any allegations of unscripted, inappropriate behavior on set. Any improvisation was entirely initiated by Lively herself. It's also important to note that no intimacy coordinator was present on set that day, as the scene only involved a kiss with no nudity or other explicit actions. Lively and her legal team had not requested the presence of an intimacy coordinator for this kiss-only scene, as it was standard industry practice to hire one only for scenes involving nudity or explicit content. Additionally, Justin discussed the birth scene in the movie, where Blake, in her complaint, expressed how uncomfortable she felt. However, Justin showed that the set had actually been closed for the day, and he shared a message from Blake after filming that day, in which she thanked him and expressed her gratitude. She admitted that she tended to overreact but appreciated the gesture, saying it meant a lot to her and that she was proud of everything they accomplished together. She expressed a deep appreciation for the work they had done, reinforcing the positive relationship between them. When it came to the film's reception with test audiences, Justin revealed that Blake had taken control of the final cut and made her own version. Blake had stated that the version which scored higher with the audience would be the one the studio could use, and according to the articles Justin included in his timeline, his version of the film had scored 94% with women under 35, while Blake's version had scored 82%. However, after Blake threatened not to promote the film unless her version was used, the studio ultimately chose to go with Blake's cut. Justin attached a screenshot comparing the scores of both versions and added that Wayfarer and Sony paid for the second official test screening, where Lively's latest cut saw a slight increase in scores to 83% with women under 35, still trailing 11 points behind Baldoni's version. We later learned that Ryan Reynolds became involved in promoting the film through his company, Maximum Effort, which Sony had hired to produce promotional content. However, things became chaotic, with costs spiraling out of control as they exceeded the budget. The photo shoot focused on quirky, lighthearted ideas, such as baking cookies and ironing jeans, completely missing the serious theme of the film, which dealt with domestic violence. According to the timeline, during a Zoom meeting between Wayfarer and Sony's marketing department, it was revealed that Sony had to handle extensive revisions to the marketing plan due to the content produced by the photo shoot. This was a result of the creative direction taken by Reynolds' company, Maximum Effort. The advertising costs for the film's promotional shoot increased significantly, with expenses well beyond the initial budget allocated by Sony. What's particularly noteworthy is that these higher costs came despite Liv's statement in January 2023, when she sent a message to Baldoni, claiming that Maximum Effort would cover the costs for the family. This promise, however, was not fully upheld, as Wayfarer was notified that Sony had no direct access to the footage from the shoot they had funded. The shoot itself included a bizarre array of activities, such as actors baking cookies, arranging flowers, ironing jeans, and other quirky ideas that seemed to completely disregard the film's serious focus. These actions, far from contributing to the movie's core theme, pushed the issue of domestic violence to the background, which had a detrimental impact on all involved parties. As noted in the email, Sony did not have many opportunities to engage with the filming process. Soon after the film was released, the internet began buzzing with speculation and doubts regarding the tension between the actors. Blake, in particular, faced a storm of backlash for how she and the other cast members promoted the film, especially when compared to Justin's solo promotional efforts. In his timeline of events, Justin alleged that Blake and Ryan had actually wanted him to issue a statement explaining why Blake and the rest of the cast were promoting the film together, while Justin opted to handle the promotional work alone. The timeline mentioned discussions between WME's Abel and Heath regarding another conversation between WME and Reynolds. WME had shared that Reynolds and Lively were angry with Wayfarer and Baldoni for positioning them as the movie's promoters, marketing it as a lighthearted Barbie movie, while elevating Boney's role to focus on the film's serious message. Reynolds and Lively were believed to hold Nathan responsible for this portrayal and insisted that WME issue a statement of remorse, taking responsibility for the negative press surrounding Lively and Reynolds. They warned that if WME did not comply, Reynolds would personally draft a statement for Wayfarer to release immediately. Heath and Abel were reportedly taken aback when Reynolds and Lively blamed Baldoni and WER for the PR nightmare they themselves had contributed to. Heath consistently communicated that neither WF Nathan nor anyone in their team had manipulated the internet using bots or planted stories about Lively or Reynolds. All of the press coverage was natural and stemmed directly from how the film was marketed, which had taken a tone that failed to reflect the movie's actual subject matter. Both Heath and Abel participated in a call to review the statement that Lively and Reynolds had drafted on behalf of Baldoni. After considering the statement, WME agreed with Wayfarer that it was vague, implied guilt without evidence, and did not address the more immediate issues. Additionally, if the goal was to lessen the negative online attention directed at Lively, the statement would likely backfire. In response to this, Baldoni and Heath firmly rejected the request for a public statement. They refused to take responsibility for things that were not their fault, particularly the allegations and negative press that they felt had been unfairly attributed to them. The statement that they appeared to have written for Justin conveyed a message that the issue was an unfortunate setback, and they accepted full responsibility for it. The statement expressed their regret for making Blake Lively upset, both personally and publicly. It also called out Hoover, the entire cast, and the crew, pledging to address any negative actions directed at them professionally. They acknowledged the importance of taking responsibility for their mistakes and emphasized that they were willing to be accountable for their actions. The statement also mentioned that they had agreed that the cast would handle the promotion of the film independently, and that they had always been open about the idea that they are not perfect. Even when they made mistakes unintentionally, they would own up to them. The statement concluded by reaffirming their responsibility for everything that had occurred, stating that this was a key part of being a true professional. They expressed gratitude for the opportunity to learn and grow from the experience, thanking both the crew and the public for allowing them to make mistakes and grow with humanity and dedication. After reviewing this statement, It is believed that Blake and Ryan pushed for Justin to fire his public relations manager. Discussions then followed regarding the need for Justin to hire a lawyer, as they had an uneasy feeling about the situation. Blake and Ryan apparently felt that this statement implied that Justin was at fault and that he needed to take responsibility for the fallout from the promotional issues. Given the nature of the statement, it's no surprise that Justin was unwilling to post it publicly. The timeline of events shows that Blake proactively took action to control the damage by posting a story on her Instagram about domestic violence in the film and the important conversations that need to take place. In the amended complaint, Justin concluded by stating that he was ultimately empowered by the celebrity firepower and strong allies of Blake. Lively did exactly what she set out to do. She took someone else's film and used it to destroy the years of creative effort and careful planning others had put in, all to serve her personal branding campaign. However, the question remains, why did Lively want to take control of the film? Why did she insist on taking on more work without any additional pay or credit? Lively's motivations could have been driven by several factors. She might have wanted to control the film so she could oversee the production of its sequel, thus opening doors for her own career. This could also explain why the cast members might have hoped for, or even been promised, a role in future installments, causing them to side with the powerful couple, whom they truly believed could overpower Boney and Wayfarer and force them to develop or sell the rights to the sequel. Another possible reason could be that Lively felt compelled to follow in the footsteps of her famous husband, Ryan Reynolds, who was said to be so adamant about controlling the film Deadpool 2 that director Tim Miller left the production over conflicts in the working process. Seeing the fame and power Reynolds commanded, Lively might have decided to adopt the same strategy to seize power and control for herself, following his lead. Evidence of this is found in many of Lively's statements, where she repeatedly claimed that Ryan was involved in every project she worked on, and vice versa. Both of them were used to getting what they wanted, perhaps feeling entitled to do so. However, there is no justification for the extortion and coercive tactics that Lively employed to gain complete control over the film. Another reason could be that she wanted to use this control to further promote her own brand and business ventures. Ultimately, even though Lively's media strategy and publicity tactics led to a wave of negative press, it cannot be denied that she did everything possible to maintain her brand. However, this website provides a lot of information, about 400 pages to process, that we've never seen before. Justin, throughout this process, is truly trying to present his side of the story and defend himself against the allegations Blake made in her initial complaint. It's really unsettling to see all of this come to light, but it's clear Justin is doing everything he can to protect his reputation. As I mentioned earlier, not everyone agrees with Justin on this, but this is simply his perspective, and we are discussing it because this is the information he has made public. If you want to know more about the contents of Blake's complaint, I've made a video explaining everything. So, don't hesitate to share your thoughts on this situation. What do you think about it all? Have you checked out the entire website? Let me know your thoughts, and don't forget to watch my next video. Thank you all so much. In conclusion, it's clear that the unfolding drama surrounding the film, its production, and the personal dynamics of those involved is far more complex than we initially thought. With each new revelation, we see how much power, influence, and control played a significant role in shaping the final outcome of this project. Whether you agree or disagree with the actions of those involved, it's undeniable that these events will have lasting impacts on the way the industry approaches creative control, publicity, and collaboration in the future. Thank you for following along and diving into this topic with me. If you found this video insightful or interesting, please show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement really helps us grow and continue bringing you the content you love. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of the situation? Do you believe Lively's actions were justified? Or is there more to the story we haven't yet uncovered? Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.